Have you ever had the kind of sex where you're literally, it's so good you just want to cry? That kind of sex is, it's a very powerful mix of physical, emotional vulnerability, neurochemical release. There are a few chemicals that are released in our bodies during orgasm. So these include oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, and prolactin. So these are things that are released during orgasm and after orgasm. So like oxytocin, for example, is it's a love hormone. So it promotes bonding and emotional closeness. Dopamine, it's also associated with pleasure and reward. And like prolactin released after orgasm, it's it could be linked to that strong feeling of emotional release, right? All of that together can trigger tears, not tears of sadness, but tears of just being that overwhelmed and that connected. It's like an emotional catharsis almost, if that makes sense. Like sex cracks open the door to vulnerability in people. If you've ever truly felt seen and safe and deeply connected during sex, it can let old wounds or bottled up emotions surface, and that's what could also result in those kind of tears. There's also a phenomenon where stored emotional tension in your body can get released through physical experiences, including orgasm. So that teary response can be your body literally letting go of something it's been holding on to, which is wild. This has happened to me very infrequently, but yeah, I have a lover in Ontario that is literally almost makes me want to cry during the sex because it's so unbelievable, like so overwhelmingly like connected and good. And I just feel like the deepest insane amount of love for this person. But at the same time, this person has, you know, been dishonest with me, was dishonest with me in the beginning, to the point where now when he does say things that are extremely deep and emotional, like those three words that we don't hear that often, I don't even believe him. I can't, because he's lied so much. But the sex is out of this world. That kind of response, it usually means that your heart and your body, so physically and emotionally, you're completely in tuned. They're connected. And that goes back to the earlier video I made about sex and love. And the difference between it is that there's no way that when you're with a stranger that you're going to feel that intenseness, where your heart, you're emotionally connected to the person. Basically, at that point, you're physically connecting, but emotionally connecting takes years, usually, of involvement with a person to get to that level. But being emotionally, sexually, and spiritually tuned in during in a sexual experience with a person, that's exactly what's happening there when you feel that kind of response inside yourself. And men feel it too. They just have been sort of programmed in life not to express these types of emotions to the point that women would. So they probably wouldn't talk about it as openly or even admit it to themselves, or fully feel that emotional side of sex. And that's social conditioning, right? Whereas women, we do, we feel that sort of thing, and usually in deeply bonded relationships, um, and you know, men would feel things like that though too after particularly powerful orgasms. But when you're going through personal transformation or healing, or just that intense closeness, men can feel that as well. They just won't really talk about it as much. But as a woman, to get to that point where you literally are almost brought to tears from how overwhelmingly amazing the sex is, it's pretty good. And I think it does leave an afterglow too. Wouldn't you say? I thought so.